Hi everyone, my name is Ila Qureshi and I welcome all of you to this webinar organized by my captain. This Power Talk is in collaboration with QFIS. QFIS is a mentorship platform with a community of experts like Himanshu himself who can guide individuals in their journey. Also, QFIS hosts coaching and workshops on different topics to enhance your skill set. So please check them out on www.qfis.com. And as you already know, today we have Mr. Himanshu Loni with us, who is an amazing stand up comedian, as we have already seen the way he talks, and who is going to share his real life experience in comedy with us. Welcome, Himanshu. We are so excited to have you. And for our attendees, to give you all his brief introduction, Himanshu dons many hats. Corporate world knows him as a digital marketer, but he has made an amazing mark in comedy as well. As a stand-up comedian, he has hosted 100 plus gigs so far, from corporate events, open mics to stand-up comedy shows. As you already see, he loves interacting with people and make them laugh. So we are so excited for this coming 1 hour jam-packed session with you, Himanshu.
Oh wow! It's like seeing LinkedIn in person.
I heavily use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the
Yeah,
best.
wow.
Yeah. So to begin with, Himanshu, tell us a bit about yourself and your journey so far.
Okay, so that's the standard. This is the standard interview question. This is how every each and every interview begins.
Yeah. So just for our mentees, Himanshu was very stringent about that. Do not make it sound like a viva. Let's have a conversation. And I was like, "No, I'm gonna take your viva because we need to know. The nation wants to know how you reached where you are right now."
Hopefully, my answer is not drugs, but okay, let me start. See, um, it's a strange question, right? You don't know like which points to touch. So I'll just say like I grew up in a small town which we were discussing, a place called Haldwani, and the way it happens for boys over there is like either you become a doctor or an engineer. So either you become a doctor or an engineer, right? So
Mhm.
I did my 10th and I knew I couldn't study that much, so I chose engineering. That's how it happens, right? Then I did my engineering and I went into IBM. So that was like a dream come true. Like now you are in IBM. Like for me, coming from the town, what people have told me, the mentors that we had, well, we didn't have such platform, right? So we thought like this is it. Like the life would be amazing from this point onwards.
Uh-huh.
But nothing like that happened.
Oh,
So
so
I'm
you
talking.
you never really liked the corporate culture that you were
No,
in
no,
at
no,
that
no, no.
time?
Just think about it. Like I did my computer science engineering from a very reputed college,
Hmm.
and then I am a developer in a big company like IBM.
Hmm.
Then I can't print hello world. So
Okay, so what was that moment which told you that okay, now I want to change my life?
the first moment that happened is like, so in 2016 I met a girl. This is how it happens. I love being in a relationship. Yeah, I love being in a relationship. I start dancing, that. So I love being in a relationship and coming out of it. It's favorite part. Like you get to learn a lot. That's what the first time when somebody told me like, Himanshu, you're funny. You should try stand up comedy in 2016.
Okay.
So now I thought about it. I said, yes, I'm funny. Like I make everybody laugh when I'm with somebody. So like this is it. This is how it should be. So there was a company meeting, like there was a company outing. So we were going in a bar, and there were like 60, 70 people of my company, and I thought like this is the day when I should give the first try of stand-up comedy. So there were some performances going on. I said like I'll be going to the stage and I'll be performing. So I went there and I did a set for around 8 9 minutes.
Okay.
And the amazing that thing that happened that day was nobody listened.
Okay.
To the extent, see, to the extent that when I came down of the stage, nobody
Uh-huh.
noticed.
Okay.
No, like see, earlier I had a stage phobia. I didn't used to go to stage, and
Hmm.
then that was the marking. I said like this is not something I'll be doing for the rest of my life.
Okay. So, just because you have just mentioned stage fear, can you
Hmm.
also tell us that how did you overcome it, like overcame it eventually?
That's the part of the next story. So
Okay.
now I decided like this is not something that I can do because I have stage fear. Secondly, I really suck at stage performing. So and I the other thing that I knew is like this IBM job is not something that I can do for long. So I left
Mhm.
that and I started trying different things. I uh, did couple of web series. I worked in web series, from a child, from taking care of everybody's food and everything. Like this. Spot boy to being the assistant director, like small in I was in Kolkata
Mhm.
back then. Then I came to Delhi. I did digital marketing, as you saw it. Then I worked in couple of companies doing different sort of digital marketing. But somewhere down the line, like they wasn't an exact fit. I
Mhm.
used to get bored after a while, and I loved making people laugh. Then because of the this stage fear, all I could do is I could talk to my friends or the people I know, and I could make them laugh, them smile.
Mhm.
So like there was a time in April last, I would say in 2019 January.
Okay.
So I thought of giving it one more try. Somebody told me about open mic culture. So
Okay.
open mic are the places where people go to fail. Some This is what that was told to me. Like people go there to fail. You Nobody is judging you. Go and perform there. So I went there. Like up now, see, I have forgotten about what happened 2 year back, and I'm
Mhm.
already in the mind zone that I am funny. It's just that the world doesn't know I'm funny. It's just that the world doesn't know I'm funny. I just
Uh-huh.
need to go there and tell them. So
Mhm.
I went there. I went on the stage, and it was like 25, 30 odd people sitting in front of me, and then I had to speak. Like I did one joke that got a bit of laugh. Second joke got a bit of laugh. Third joke, dead silence.
Okay.
And then after the third joke, there was a dead silence out there in the audience, and there was a dead silence in my brain as well. I couldn't process anything else. So
Uh-huh.
that was the second performance that I did. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
And then after talking to a couple of people, because they were the people, that was the place where a lot of performers have come. So they said
Mhm.
like this happens. Like there are times when joke doesn't work. So you need to have a complete script. What you gonna talk about one joke after the other. And
Mhm.
this is the time when I was working as a project manager. I had a team in Hyderabad as well and a team in Gurgaon, so I was managing them. So then after a couple of days, I prepared a script. I went on stage again, right? So
Mhm.
I went on the stage and then I performed, and I got couple of laughs, like 3 4 laughs. Good, I was happy.
Okay.
And just my friend, now we are already friends, so I'll just tell you
Uh-huh.
one thing, कि मैं फैलता बहुत जल्दी हूँ, like I get excited very easily.
Okay.
So the moment I got couple of laughs, I thought this is it, right?
Mhm.
I left the job.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I left the job as a project manager. I thought like, no, I told my parents that this guy has achieved it.
Okay.
Just wait for a couple of months and the big thing is coming.
I'm really eager to hear the rest of the story then. So how it turned out.
uh, See, like, one thing I came to know is like, see, a couple of things that I learned in the past 1.5 years. One thing, it's an amazing field. It's an amazing field, and since you can never get bored from this field because no 2 days are same. With couple of jokes, let's say I am making this crowd go crazy. The same jokes, the same way. Just 1 hour later, at a different place, everything would be completely dead silence. This is what I'll be facing. So no 2 days are same. You
True.
need to practice it. So that's the best part of it. And the worst part is making money takes a lot of time.
Hmm.
And
The
then
growth
Corona
is
also
slow, but
happened.
once you reach it, then it's exponential. Till
And
then, it's a
exponential,
struggle.
yeah. You don't see, this is what art is all about. Picasso had to struggle a lot to get his first
Hmm.
painting noticed. But once he got that fame, then money is just the outcome, right?
True.
That's
That is true. Very true. So Himanshu, yeah.
so.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
now I do a job as well along with comedy. So lesson learned, right?
Okay. Finally.
Finally. Hmm.
Okay, so since you have already shared us because many people, when we ask them, they kind of highlight their achievements, which we have come across, and you told the honest first experience that you have had. So, for the people who want to go into stand up comedy and who are struggling with how to put their first act together,
Hmm.
what will be your advice to them? Like, how should they start?
Yeah. See, like first thing that you know need to know to start stand-up comedy is this is a place where you will fail a lot, and
Okay.
the main journey is all about learning how to be comfortable with failing. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now talking about how to get your first act together. It's simple. Yeah. Everybody has gone through some funny incident. Something funny happened with you, like some
Mm-hmm.
funny incident or something. Just
Mm-hmm.
take the 5 minutes of it. Just memorize what you can speak about it for 5 minutes and go on stage. So the first 20 times you perform is not about doing good. It's
Mm-hmm.
just about taking that fear out. You never get over your fear. It's just that understanding that fear when you are on stage and a lot of people are just looking at you
Mm-hmm.
with blank faces. So that the way you get uncomfortable is something that you need to understand first. So this is what you need to do. Just have a funny story and just be ready to fail and go on stage. That's it. Nothing much. And open mics here. Like for this, we have open mics. So a lot of people, a lot of people have asked me this question, and I'm sure the audience as well would have this question in this mind. When I was saying this, I just had the feeling of a YouTuber, right?
Okay.
A lot of people have asked me this question. This is how they start any any crazy video, right?
Mhm.
So, so like people ask me like, see, they see videos on YouTube and they see like people are killing, the comedians are killing on stage. Every
Mm.
10-20 seconds they are getting a huge laugh, and then looking at that everybody feels like this is not what I am, this is not how I speak or how I do. And
True.
I'll like to tell everybody who's starting their journey in comedy, this is not how they speak as well. That's the beauty. It's just that they started with a thought, they went on one mic, they performed it, they got one laugh, then they did it again, then they did it again. And with once they performed like 200, 250 times or 150 times or so, the same jokes,
Mm-hmm.
they had perfected it. They memorized everything. They know where to pause because the people would be laughing. You need to give them time to laugh as well. And which line is not working, so replace it with something else or remove the entire joke together. This is how you make a tight set. And then
Mm-hmm.
you make the video.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
one
makes.
thing that everybody needs to understand is when they go on an open mic, they don't kill. Kill and bomb are two words. Like kill is like
Uh-huh.
when you are doing crazy thing on stage. Like
Mm-hmm.
you did great on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Bomb is you are either you will do somewhere good or you will go for a suicide. So this is how bomb is. So that's why you call it bomb.
Okay.
Like nobody laughed. You are just said this is how it is.
Okay. Okay. So, just for our attendees, whatever questions that you have, you can type it in the chat box or on the Q&A section. We will take all the questions along the course of the webinar.
Right.
So,
And please do ask questions. Like I am not a teacher, right?
he's not. He's definitely not, guys. You can ask him any questions that you like.
Yeah.
Himanshu, now coming to doing your first gig or first set. I really want to talk.
Mm.
Yeah,
Doing your
I
first, you need to repeat from doing your first. So this is how.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the first performance as a stand-up comedian.
Hmm.
So when it comes to writing, how do you write your jokes, or is there a formula that should be followed?
Hmm. A very good question indeed.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
nice. I'm happy.
so see, like the basic thing is like comedy, stand-up comedy is a lonely journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, and writing is 60% of the entire work. So you need to write daily.
Hmm,
That is
okay.
one thing. And just see, when I write, I don't think about jokes. I think about whatever comes in my mind. And one thing, like before I explain this thing, because it's a complex question. So before I explain you this thing, if you notice any joke, like 90% of the jokes,
Mm-hmm.
you will feel that it comes from a place of pain.
Hmm. Okay.
Let's say, the thing like when you were laughing, I went on stage when I was telling you about my first experience. I went on stage, they were company people, and then nobody noticed what I'm speaking. So that's not a happy memory.
True.
So comedy always comes from a place of pain.
Hmm.
So what when we write something, it's not about what it is like, how funny it is. It's not about being funny. It's
Hmm.
about what I actually feel from inside. It's an inward journey.
Okay.
So write about anything that you feel about.
Okay.
Then think of like, see, and the formula. Now, okay. I didn't realize the net is not stopping anymore. So, see, comedy. Now I gave you one answer, half of the answer. The thing
Yeah.
is like what you write about. It's your
Hmm.
personal experiences. And
Hmm.
the second question is, what is funny about it? Like, what is the formula? Formula. The basic formula is violation.
Okay.
So, see, like if I am telling you, let's go to the same example again of me going first time on stage. So I am telling you
Hmm.
that this is where I felt I love stand up comedy. Then I went on stage.
Hmm.
Now I am telling you a premise. I went on stage, that's a premise. And then based on what I said, there is a story that went inside your mind. You thought, okay, Himanshu knew that he is good, he is funny, he went on stage, he knew what he wants to say, and then he's performing in front of the audience. That's the imagination you had. And in your imagination,
Hmm.
there's a story that goes in our mind. This is how our mind works, right? So
Yes.
in that story, you were expecting, I would say, like that was amazing, that was amazing experience. But I said that wasn't amazing, nobody heard it. So the
Hmm.
assumption that you had in your mind, the sentence that you were expecting, that didn't happen.
Yes.
And the violation that happened is what made you laugh or makes anybody laugh when a person says something that they were not expecting.
Hmm.
And now this and now you got your answer. Like just to push it a bit deeper. So
Hmm.
the violation has to come from a place of comfort.
Okay.
So um, a lot of people talk a lot of people talk about a lot of serious stuff like death of their parents and everything, how their father died, of very painful things. So now how do they make everybody laugh with that?
Hmm.
A person need the audience need to get the idea, need to get that feeling that this person is just making fun. He's not
Hmm.
harmful, he's not dark, he's just sharing his feelings. So for example, like see, uh Gudgudi ko, what do you say Gudgudi in English? I am not able to comprehend that word.
Gudgudi.
Yeah,
Guys, attendees,
you know,
what do we call gudgudi in tickle? Tickle.
tickle, yeah.
Yeah.
So see, now tickle make you laugh, right?
Hmm.
A universal fact. I read that in a book. It's not my original thought, okay, but it's a very good one. So tickle make you laugh.
Hmm.
Yeah, tickle make you laugh, but not when you tickle yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Because when you tickle yourself, there is no violation. You are
Hmm.
expecting your hand would do this, and you are doing that. So there is no
Yes.
violation. There is no laugh.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Ab now, if a stranger comes to you, Ila,
Hmm. Hmm.
and tickles you, would you laugh?
I will end up beating that stranger, but yes.
But you won't laugh. You'll end up beating him, but you won't laugh because that's a complete violation. There is
Yeah.
no safety in that one.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But if your friend comes and tickles you,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
probably you will laugh.
Yes, because I'm comfort. So that is where the audience comfort or, the relation comes into picture.
Yeah, the relation should be comfortable, and then there is violation. You are not expecting that person to tickle you, but he is tickling you, and and that person is your friend, and you are not expecting any harm from that person. So now you laugh. So that's the thing. Get them
Hmm.
in their comfort zone, and then break their assumptions, and voila, you are making them
Have
laugh.
the you have the perfect recipe for laugh.
Yes. And now, what type of jokes could be? How you will be forming a line or thing? There are thousands of books on it. You
That's
need to learn
actually
it.
my next question. That now you have told us how to write. Now, according to you, what should be the essential elements while performing, while the complete act?
Complete act. You should have done it 100 times, I guess. Like 50, 70, 100 times in front of different audiences.
So practice is
Practice
going
is the key.
out, experimenting with your material. Yeah,
Yeah,
experimenting with your material,
mm,
and then just finding out where it makes your audience laugh, and this just picking that up.
true. So, like,
That's
stage
really
is your
interesting.
only teacher, only mentor. Now, if somebody has done really great in comedy, let's say the people who have been in this field from last 10 years in India, the the oldest are 10 to 12 years old only in
Mm-hmm.
comedy. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at the American culture of comedy, they are like 30, 40, 50 years old in comedy. But
Mm-hmm.
no one can teach you comedy.
People can just give you
Give you idea, like
guidance.
give you
Yeah.
idea. So,
Oh, I
Yash is
yeah.
asking something, right?
Yes. So, yeah.
I just felt like
Yes,
I read
yes.
your mind.
Yes, yes, we are going to take your questions. Oh my God. He's like, please take my question.
Yeah, the please, that's the word that I that I read. I said like this need to be handled immediately. We can't wait for that.
So he is asking that what was the most disappointing open mic you had, and how you how you overcome from such multiple situations, because it's really difficult to enjoy your art in such disappointing situations. And do you write your jokes regularly? So it's couple of 3 4 questions in one.
Okay, just repeat all of them again.
Yeah. So
Let's
first is,
first
what
first
was
question.
the most disappointing open mic you had, and how did you overcome those situations?
Uh, there have been a lot of disappointing mics, man. So I just erase them from my memory and remember the one where I did the best. So that's how I handle them. You see, like a couple of them I already told you, they have been mics where we were just like, the person organized the mics. It's an informal culture, right? And I remember there was a time when we went to a place, we were supposed to perform there, and there were no audience. So the guy told us that, there's a restaurant inside, let's go and perform for them.
Okay.
Now they are not the audience. They didn't come to the restaurant to see us performing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they were with their friends and everybody, and we are asking them to keep quiet and listen to us.
Okay.
By, I think, initial 4 to 5 performances, we were the only one there.
Oh.
So that was one of the difficult one. But then this is what you do, right? This is one of the example. A lot of things keep on happening, But then you go again the next day. That's how it
Yeah,
is.
so I think in your profession or in any profession per se, failure should never be treated as a failure. It's just a part of the journey which you need to overcome to get to the success. So, Yash, as Himanshu has already told, Take failure with a good heart, because consistency is the key. Practice as much as is possible, and disappointing situations actually gives you a realization that the material that you have does not work. It's
Does not
actually an
work.
opportunity to improve.
100%. And that's a very this is what I should have said, which you said at the end. Like, this is the better line than what I said. So, yeah, the way it happens is like, whenever I bomb, like bombing is the word, like what he's trying to say. So I think about it. Like, obviously, I think about it. Like, what could I have said to avoid that situation? Like, somebody said something, I didn't have a response. Because see, when you are doing stand-up comedy, people would talk to you, like say random things, and this is called heckling. There's a professional word for it. So people will heckle you. Now, since you are the in charge, you are the person with microphone, but when it's happening, and nowadays the comedy is happening, we are doing mostly in Zoom, so nobody has the microphone, so like everybody's voice is at the same pitch. So the best thing that you can do is come up with a good response. And when you don't come up with a good response, that's the bombing. And I think about it, and at times I write about it, if that's important. If that has happened twice, I'll write couple of responses about it. So the next
Okay.
time if something close to that happens, I have the perfect response for that. That's how you deal with
Mm.
failure.
So I think that this entire situation is very relatable to the meme of you realizing a perfect response after the argument is
Yeah,
over.
that that had been my story, like life story. Because see, I don't come up with the response like in general life, in the normal life. A lot of times it happens like I realize what the person did a lot later. And earlier there was only repent. Now with stand-up comedy, I have the liberty to recreate that situation in a funny way and come out as a hero. To recreate that situation again and come out as a hero. So I have that opportunity now with me. I can
Yeah.
mold my memories the way I want to, because that's how our mind works, right? If you want to remember something that happened in your childhood, your mind, the way I understand mind is, it doesn't directly go to that childhood memory. It goes to that memory where you remembered your childhood memory.
Hmm. Okay, that's a good thing to retrospect on.
Yeah, well, the way
Yeah.
computer works, right? See,
Hmm.
when you are searching for something, so the computer first go to the cache memory, right? But I didn't. I would.
Please,
I'm not.
please do not mix the professions. Keep your digital marketing out of stand-up comedy.
No, it's a lot there, but I'm really loving it because see, this is the first time I'm utilizing the knowledge that I got in my college, and it
Okay.
was really expensive. So let me complete.
Yeah, you spent 4 years.
4 years, yeah, lakhs of money to
Uh,
get this understanding. See, whenever you are searching something in, when you want to open a file in your computer, first you go to the cache memory.
mhm,
Recent actions, memory that computer had preserved of all the recent actions you did. If it
mhm,
doesn't find it there, it go to the RAM.
mhm,
If it doesn't find it in RAM, it go to the hard disk. So the same way, whenever you try to remember a memory, our mind finds out if there was a recent memory there was a recent time when you were trying to remember that memory.
mhm,
If yes, then yes, that's the memory that it will take out. So once I understood this part, I
mhm,
understood the power that whenever I had a difficult time or not a good memory,
mhm,
if I talk about that memory enough
mhm.
number of times, I can recreate it the way I want.
You can manipulate the situation.
Yeah, and that too for myself. So
Hmm.
after, I would say, like, I'm 28 years old and all I have is happy memory, because whenever there was a sad memory, I have already manipulated it. And
Hmm.
I guess this is what other people do as well, who talks about dark comedy. Whenever people talk about dark subjects, I think this is what they are doing. They are replacing a said a painful memory with a happy memory of the same thing.
Yeah. I actually have.
Oh my god. I never knew I'm so talented, okay?
Good that
I'll
we
watch the recording of this particular segment again. Oh my god. This is the
are.
inception level of information that I just passed.
I just hope you get some good material out of this webinar as well, and we can see you all performing somewhere talking about us.
100%, Eli, 100%. Actually, that's why I was looking forward to it, because when you are answering a question, you just don't give the answer, you get the answer yourself as well.
True, true. That is true. Now
Hmm,
coming to performance.
yeah.
Now we have talked about how to write. We have talked about what are the essential elements of the act that needs to be put together. Now let's talk about the relationship that needs to be formed with the audience. How do
Hmm.
you do that? How do you feel your audience?
That's a very good question. That's a very important one as well. Okay, yeah. If the audience is not listening to you, they won't be laughing at your jokes. That's a simple
Mm-hmm.
fact. And audience generally give you 25 to 30 seconds. If see, if there are multiple people performing, then audience give you just 25 to 30 seconds to make an impact. If you don't do that, then there are high chances that they won't be listening to you what you have to say next.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I do it is like, if I am about to perform, I see everything about the room. I notice it. This is something that I already have material. Like, this is what I'm going to speak. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'll be beginning with is something that I see the room. I see what all the people are noticing. If someone before me is going on stage or talking, whom they are talking to, what is their profession. So first, whenever I go on stage, I try to start with that.
Okay.
Now people, see, like, there are two things that happened with this one.
Mm-hmm.
One, with the first thing that happened is people know that he is whatever he is doing, mostly it's instant.
Mm-hmm.
Also, although it's an act, but it feels like that is happening in the moment.
Hmm.
And second thing, if I'm talking to you, making a joke with you, so it feels like I genuinely care about you. And if somebody else was talking to you, I genuinely care about it. So if I'm caring about what you have to say or what you said earlier, so then you should be doing the same, vice versa, right?
Little take, little give.
Yeah. That's how it is. So, like,
Yeah.
initially you have to make an impact, else people won't listen. All you
Mm-hmm.
are doing is just speaking on mic. You are not doing, you don't have a guitar or something, like, so that it's just that you are talking. If people are listening,
Mm-hmm.
voila. If not, then you are in for a hard time, man.
Okay, I get that. So basically, again, keeping your introduction relatable to the audience, accessing your surrounding for funny things. There is a very good question from one of the attendees who is
Mm-hmm.
anonymous. So he is asking that can you share any of your funny thing you had while on stage, like where you have something which looked really embarrassing to you but went funny for others?
Okay. uh, a thing that happened on stage. Okay. See, on top of my mind, the one thing that I can remember is, like, I was there to attend a show of some renowned comedian, because
Okay.
we need to see other comedians performing as well. I bought the ticket and I reached early. So it was a bar type of arrangement, a huge stage, and they were like couches in front of the stage.
Mhm.
And I was early. I sat in the middle of that one. So it was a couch for three people, and I was the only one who was sitting there.
Okay.
Now obviously, like, around then the show was about to start. A lot of people came in and everybody was with somebody, right? Nobody was
Mhm.
alone like me. So
Mhm.
everybody was sitting in pairs, like three or four people sitting in one couch. And then in the front there was a center.
Mhm. Yeah.
There was just one person who was sitting in the front. So when the host came, like, the show starts. So the way a show happens normally is, there's a host who comes and interacts with the audience. Then there's an opening act, the person who warms up the audience.
Mhm.
Okay, makes them laugh and everything. Then the main performer, who is the big comedian, then that person enters, and then he makes everybody laugh, performs a 1 hour of show, like
Mhm.
in the professional where you pay, and when you pay and go to the show. So this is how it happens. So
Mhm.
the first person came, the host came,
Mhm.
and he made absolute laugh of me, because I was the odd one out, right? This is what you do to make, this is what I
Yeah.
just told you, right? To make it relatable, he made entire
Mhm.
jokes on me. That opening act came,
Mhm.
that person did the same.
Oh.
Now, now this renowned comedian, he comes to the stage, and he also notices the same thing.
Mhm.
Since he knows that person, know he's a renowned comedian, right? He has been doing it
Mhm.
for a while, so he knows that
Mhm.
this is the person whom everybody know exists. So
Mhm.
let's take laugh from this person, right?
Mhm.
So he asked me about my name and everything, and a couple of here and there things, and I told him that I've just started comedy. It was like I was 2 3 months into comedy. That was the time.
Mhm.
So now that person, he had a story, and that in that story there was a guy who had all the embarrassing thing happening to him,
Okay.
and he named that person Himanshu. Now,
Oh, that is.
now if in the entire joke, in the entire in bits, if nobody is laughing, whenever he used to take the name Himanshu, everybody would laugh.
Mm.
And that went on for 1.5 hour. He took my name around 30 35 times, and everybody laughed
Mhm.
at that. So that's the embarrassing memory. And then he asked me like how it turned out to be a beautiful one, right?
Mhm.
Now by the time, like, I'm 3 4 months into the comedy, and by the time
Mhm.
that person came down from the stage, everybody had heard my name so many times,
Mhm.
and they knew that I'm an open mic, like I do comedy, I've started comedy. That
Mhm.
when the comedian came down, everybody was taking my name.
Okay.
So like the entire room is like Himanshu, Himanshu, Himanshu.
Oh.
And then the host comes to the stage, and he says like on the on the public demand, Himanshu, you come and perform for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
And I am 3 months into the comedy, and I'm going to the stage because these are real audiences, and just before me a renowned comedian has performed.
Mhm.
So I go there on the stage, my legs are trembling. I take the mic, and I have like 4 5 jokes by now, just 4 5 jokes with me,
Okay.
because I'm really new. I
Haha.
tell my first joke, and the response that I got for the joke was, "Man, you need to put your mic closer to your mouth. We can't hear anything." So
Okay.
that was the response that I got. I said, "Okay, mistake noticed."
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
then I did my 4 5 jokes that I had written and I was doing from the last 3 months, and
Mhm.
that worked.
So that's where you got it.
Yeah, that worked. Like, then I had people laughing for the next 4.5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
That was one of the most amazing feeling. That started out to be an embarrassing one, although I don't feel embarrassed when somebody makes fun of me, because this is how comedy works. Like, you are making fun of others are entitled to make fun of you. But
Mhm.
that's a memory that started as embarrassing and ended up being one of the best one.
I think that's an amazing story.
That's an amazing
That,
story. This is what you
that's
said. What did you
yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah. That's an amazing story to hear actually, because you can like you went through all those phases, and that's quick thinking. That actually tells you how quick thinking is like how much quick thinking is also important. Because if he would have made the same joke that you are alone, but he like took you and made you
Mhm.
relatable for all the other situations.
Right.
So that's actually amazing.
Yeah, and this is an amazing guy you are talking to.
Yes. Oh, yes, we are. And audiences, if you
No.
want to talk to this amazing guy a little more, just type it out your questions in the chat box or
Hmm.
Q&A, and we will take it one by one. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
Himanshu, Now,
Yes.
as we were talking about open mics and the stand-up comedy shows, as an amateur artist, as a newbie,
Hmm.
how should you go about like what? How important is the network in stand-up comedy, and how you should go about forming it, and where are the gigs? Like, where should you look it for?
Okay, so let's talk. This is a very big question, and it needs to be divided into parts. So first, let's talk about if you are starting now, because whosoever uh, is listening to us right now, or who would be looking into the video, that person would need a solution for now. So I would say, to start comedy, this is the golden time. The golden time. Earlier, what used to happen, like, there would be venues where a comedy open mic would be organized. Open mic are the places where people go and test their new material. So
Mhm.
you are not getting paid, by the way. Yeah, you pay to get on the mic, get on the stage. So
Mhm.
they're like 100, 200, 250 rupees they will be charging you for your 5 or 7 minutes on stage. And then in the open mic, since there is no audience,
Mhm.
organic audience, nobody wants to hear your new jokes, everybody wants to hear the refined jokes. So
Mhm.
you have to bring one audience with you as well.
Okay.
So if there are 10 performers who are going on stage, 10 performer will pay 200 or 250 bucks, and then they'll have 10 audiences on as well, so that they can test their material.
Okay.
When I started, and it's still happening in the offline world, this is how it happens. And
Mhm.
it's there are two things. One, you don't get the mics easily. If
Okay.
you are lucky in the beginning, you will get one or two times to perform in a week,
Mhm.
or maybe in 2 weeks, to
Mhm.
one or two times. And then it's expensive, you have to reach there, you have to bring a friend of yours to reach to that place, then you have to pay that money, and then you have to perform.
Mhm.
But now Zoom has happened. So earlier, when the lockdown happened, like, I was one of the most saddest person, because I was talking to mirror each day, and I didn't have anybody else to listen to. And
Mhm.
my parents had already declared me unfunny, because they are the people who are with me since the childhood. I still remember one day I was telling jokes to my mother,
Haha.
and mother was not laughing. So my father was also there, so I had two people for whom I was performing. So I was telling jokes to my mother, and then my father was tickling my mother, so that's how the laugh was coming.
I think this should be one of your embarrassing moment stories.
That I just made up, right? Yeah. Now with the Zoom thing, so now with Zoom, the way we I'm talking to you, this is the way the shows happens on Zoom. So we
Mhm.
call them Zoom comics. That's a new terminology that have come,
Okay.
the people that have started in Zoom. And in
Mhm.
Zoom there are like, each day there are like 8-10 mics that are happening around the entire India. Earlier people used to comedians used to travel to different states to get the flavor of different audiences.
Mhm.
That if my jokes are working in Delhi, would it work in Indore as well? There was no way of knowing it other than physically reaching that place. But now online thing is happening, like, the audience comes from entire India, and people and comedians from tier 2, tier 3 cities, they are coming and performing, and they are doing really good. Like, it's so good to hear such people. So all
Mhm.
you need to do is, like, figure out, go to Insider. Earlier we were doing it with Insider, so Insider, where the open mic are happening. If not that, or follow the regular comics who are performing. Like, I perform my I'm on Instagram with the name Excited Lohani. So we share the posters of different mics that are happening, and you can find it on Instagram. You'll figure out a way. Yeah, that's not easy, that's not tough. And then you can get a spot to perform there. And with Zoom, with the comfort of your home, you can
Mhm.
start performing. And if you try, in couple of months you'll be doing it almost regularly.
Okay, so
Getting a
Zoom
chance
has
to
opened
perform
up,
is a lot easier.
yeah,
Hmm.
so Zoom has opened up new opportunities and given you the way to reach
Yeah,
larger audience.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
but after pandemic, and because you have had this personal experience where after the first successful act, you were like, I don't want the job. Like to begin with, what will be your career advice? Because
What will be? I lost you after what will be. So you need
yeah.
to.
So because we have this entire passion boom going on, that if you want to achieve something, you should have this drastic decision to go all in, and all
Hmm.
this is quite everywhere present. So what do you, matlab, like, what will be your advice, career advice to aspiring comedians?
See, what I would suggest is like see what are your roles and responsibilities. What are
Hmm.
your responsibilities in the family? You could be the only one earning. You can't lose your job. You could be a married with kids. You can't leave the job. You could be a bachelor who has very little expenses. And maybe you are in the college where your parents are paying the money. You can take the risk. So I think it differs from person to person. I had the liberty to take risk. I had a bit of my saving and I took the risk.
Hmm.
And then the moment I had the financial crunch, I didn't have the money to go on like that. I joined a job, and now I again have a bit of money, and आपको तो पता है मैं फैलता बहुत जल्दी हूँ तो I तो soon I'll be out of job again. So it's personal, right? You
Yeah.
decide. Like if you can see, it's hard. I would never
Hmm.
say it's an easy thing to do. It's hard, and the difference between working in a company and working in comedy is that in company there are a lot of people who just go there to make money, who doesn't
Hmm.
want to learn new things, who are not passionate about it. And if you are a
Hmm.
little bit passionate about what you do, you can grow easily in a company.
True. Hmm.
But when you are coming in comedy or any art form, be it poetry, comedy, painting, everybody who is here is passionate about it.
Hmm.
And this is what makes it one of the very difficult thing, because if you are working hard, good. But
Hmm.
everyone else is working hard as well. You are not the only one who is working hard. So this is the question that I ask a lot of people, and one thing that they told me is, see, you can't beat the competition.
Hmm.
The best thing that you can do is figure out what is unique about you.
So it's more like, as you in the beginning also said, it's an inward
It's
journey.
an inward journey. So now see, if you talk about top comedians, Zakir Khan, let's talk about Zakir Khan. He
Hmm.
has a way of telling stories which
Yes.
no one else does. That's
Hmm.
that's that's his that's his USP. If you like Zakir Khan, you won't be very much satisfied with the joke of Abhishek Upmanyu, and vice versa as well,
Hmm.
because their way of delivery, the way the topics that they talk about, the way they deliver it is something unique in each one. For me personally, the way, like for me, my USP, like I'm always excited in my life. So when I deliver, I'm always excited. So if you are looking at this, you won't be happy with anyone else, okay? Who would be performing in a sad way or different way. So that's how it is. You have to find that USP about yourself. And initial
And
1 or 2 years is about that only.
how do you do that? Like, I know that we will be like, it's a lot of going and testing and trying it out,
Mhm.
but can you give us a proper, a structure to how to find your voice or authenticity in comedy?
Okay. Now then again, that's a very good question, and again, Ella, is very personal. If it worked for me, it doesn't necessarily work for anyone else as well.
Hmm.
So the way I did it is like there are two things, right? Writing content,
Hmm.
learning to write content, and then performing.
Hmm.
So what I did, like in my couple of months, I figured out couple of jokes that works.
Hmm.
So I figured out like there are 5 6 jokes that I have tried, and it works most of the time, and I can refine it a bit more.
Hmm.
And I then I didn't bother much about writing content.
Okay.
Now see, now when I'm going on stage, I already have
Hmm.
a act that I know, these are the jokes that works. Now
Hmm.
how can I make it better by my performance?
Hmm.
Because now I didn't have to worry about if I may forget my jokes or if the jokes work or not. I know, this is how it is. It has worked in the last time, so it's not that bad.
Hmm.
So with those jokes, I kept performing, 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 and listening to people how do they react. So this is how I found was unique about me, was people notice what are the usual compliments that I get,
Mm-hmm.
how what I perform was different from other people, what was the way, how the way were different, or then listen to my audios when I perform, or now with Zoom listen to the video, like for example how I spoke about, I'll be going through the recording again, right, to
Mm-hmm.
understand like what I actually was thinking and how I am. If you see something, if you can have perception about other people after seeing it, we have perception about everybody, right? By
Mm-hmm.
now you
True.
would be having a perception about me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how it would be, but yeah, you would be having it.
Uh,
You would be having it. So now if you can have a perception about me by looking at me,
mm-hmm.
then you can have a perception about you by looking at yourself as well, and pretty correct one.
Very correct. Very correct.
Yeah, and
I
that's how you
agree with
find your
you.
voice.
I think that's an amazing explanation. We have a question from Merlene Matthew.
Hmm.
She's asking that, sir, what was your family response to your decision for being a comedian? Oh, yeah. What was it?
Wow. See,
I think now she
try
is
to
in the violation mode.
see, try to understand their point of view. They spend a lot on my education, my schooling.
Mhm.
Then they made sure I get a good degree from a very reputed college or whatever. Then they were very happy. They celebrated when I got my uh,
Yeah.
they were very happy when I got my job and everything. And now
Mhm.
all of a sudden they hear that after doing a lot of job, after spending so much of money and everything, their son wants to tell jokes to other people. For that, this is what it is, right?
Mhm.
कि तुम कि you pick up some jokes and you tell it to random people
Mhm.
and expect them to pay you.
Mhm.
So for them, I'm already out of my mind and I'm killing the career that I could have had, because see, and Ela, like the generation of us.
Mhm.
But this shouldn't be a good question. Me asking how old are you, but
Oh, I am younger than you.
much younger than me. Okay, okay, okay. Much younger or little younger?
Little younger.
It's a little younger. Okay, okay. So we are in the
Same
same.
generation.
We are just
Yeah.
nineties kids. So see, like we didn't have that difficulty, right?
Mhm.
Because obviously the economy grew and everything happened well. So now the generation that we belong to is about finding what you can be good at,
Mhm.
because
Oh,
this is
yeah,
what
it's not existence struggle anymore. Now it's,
anymore
yeah, it's uplifting your lifestyle.
uplifting your lifestyle. That's true. And with our parents, they had a hard life.
Mhm.
Their motivation of life was to come out of the poverty and have a decent life.
So how did you
This is
convince them?
see, I have like it's 60-40 right now, like 70-30 I could say.
Mhm.
70% they are convinced because they know like with job I perform each day.
Okay.
So they see the dedication, because now they know with in job he's not gonna be big, but in this he can be.
Mhm.
And then no parents wants their kids to complain after a couple of years that I could have become I could have done that, I could have become something else if you would have allowed me, or you would have let me do that. So that's the thing.
I think most of our generation complains the same, that because of you I couldn't become this and now I'm an
Yes.
engineer.
No, and they are right in their part as well, that see, we had such a struggle, we just want you to have surety in life. Now if you are an engineer, there are a number of jobs in IT, right? If you have a couple of years experience in IT, you would somehow find one more job in IT, because there are always opening. In this time, this time of crisis as well, there are a lot of openings still there in the IT market. So what they want is completely right, but what, this is not a driving force for us. I
Mm-hmm.
can't just think about money, 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 and go and go with it because I've seen it and it's a better purpose in my life. That is spreading happiness, making people laugh. That's the kick for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think
True.
that's the most addictive drug when people clap at what you thought, at your thought, people are clapping and laughing. They are relating
Mm-hmm.
to it. That's the high that no else drug can give you. And once you get addicted to this, you won't be settling for anything less. I'm sure you won't.
I understand that feeling. Yeah. So, just want to talk about, like, again, touch the networking aspect of it, because as we, like, during our
Yeah,
talk,
networking
you,
was the question. Yeah.
yes.
I
So,
somehow forgot.
no, it's okay. I'm here to remind you
Yeah.
that you forgot this. So,
Hmm.
the only reason why I really want to talk in depth about this is because a lot of feedback is involved, especially in stand-up comedy, to
Hmm.
brush your act. It's
Right.
actually just the feedback which tells you what is working and what is
Hmm.
not. So, how do you network in comedy industry?
Right. See, there are a couple of ways. The best ways you perform good.
Mm-hmm.
If you are doing a good act, if you are doing good, people will notice. It's not a very big industry like IT industry where one person doesn't know what else other person is doing. If you are consistently doing good, people
Mm-hmm.
will notice. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have a good act. A good act. See, there are no shortcuts in comedy because you can't bribe the audience into paying you. It's
Mm-hmm.
always other way around, right? So if you are doing good, you will be noticed. If you are not,
Mm-hmm.
you won't be. Networking helps because and networking helps in certain way and it's automatically happens like the place that you are performing, a lot of other people are performing as well. Then if they are having a show, they call you up like, Imanshu, like if we really liked your set and please come and perform with us. So this is how it happens, if and the first break that a struggling comedian gets is show. I told you, like in the big show, there is a host, then there's an opening act who would perform for 8-10 minutes, and then there'll be a main act. So the first
Mm-hmm.
break that you get as a starting comic is getting that opening act. And for that
Mm-hmm.
opening act, that person must have seen you performing or heard from somewhere that you perform really well. So the only key of networking is your act. You are respected by your act. People don't remember your name. Like I don't remember the name of my fellow comics,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember their jokes.
Mm-hmm.
When they'll be performing again and doing the joke, I'll remember, okay, man, this is the one, and we have met there, and this is what I've heard about you. So
Yeah.
a joke is remembered more than a person in our industry.
That is a good advice. You are throwing punchlines by punchlines after one after the other.
The practice, man, practice. Look at me after a year, I'll be throwing more.
So Merlin is again asking us that what
Hmm,
type of competition do you face in this field? So before actually coming to competition, because I think the
hmm.
competition is only with yourself. Um, but then again, also I want to touch. I want to talk about the big no-nos of comedy industry, because we were talking about dark comedy. Yeah, we were talking about dark comedy, and dark comedy is something which does not really go well with mass audience. And sometimes there is a very fine line between dark comedy or comedy in general and insult.
Right.
So, can you just like take us on, if you follow any big no-nos, or what are the things that you should be careful while designing your act?
Very great. A very nice question, like, actually. Yeah.
I should become a full-time interviewer.
Yeah, you should. You can.
You have YouTube channel, like I'll like keep me in mind.
Okay, sure, 100%. Like actually, I really like this is the most fun interview I ever had,
Oh,
and I
so
just had a couple of them, but still, this is the most fun.
Uh,
Yeah, so the biggest no in the industry is never steal anybody's joke.
hmm.
The joke should be your original one. Never use a WhatsApp forward or somebody else told you or you heard it somewhere else and you are modifying it and making it your own. That's the biggest no because people know you by your jokes.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
And if someone else is doing the similar joke, I'll know or someone else will know and point it out.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
And then you'll be blacklisted most probably, but that's not a very formal way how we blacklist people. But if I know somebody, so I'll treat that person that way. That's one a big no. And when talking about comedy, there are like more than 26 types of comedy.
Hmm,
The
hmm,
way it
hmm.
happens, like you must have heard the Big Bang Theory and all, right? That
Hmm,
is situational comedy, sitcom.
hmm,
Then
hmm.
I told you a couple of stories of my life, right? That is anecdotal comedy.
Hmm,
Then there is observational comedy, which you observe the behavior of the people. Then there is, let's say, dark comedy, where we talk about some sad topic, some painful topic. Let's say we are talking about death, we are talking about rape, we are talking. But when you are talking, when you are doing a dark comedy, you should have to know where to draw a line, and this is what you learn from open mics. Open
hmm,
mic are a
hmm.
place where nobody is judging you.
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
Just
hmm.
try and just figure out what is the right spot. And then there are, like, observational comedy, anecdotal comedy, and there is an entire improv comedy where you
Hmm,
everything is done on stage. And similarly there are like 25, 26 type of comedy, and everything is good. You see, like, appealing to the mass audience is good and bad at the same time. At the
hmm,
end of
hmm.
the day, you want to appeal to those people who would afford the ticket.
Hmm. So you should go with a niche audience.
Yeah, you just be original.
Hmm,
Talk about things that relates to you. It could be dark, it could be simple, funny, whatever. it
hmm.
it's just that the right audience will find you.
So the key is to put your content as much as possible out there and then again get your marketing mind and analyze it where it's
uh,
working.
that's a tricky one. I was wondering, why didn't you raise this question? This is the very important one. Like, how will you become famous?
How, how will you become
Yeah,
famous?
uh, see uh, the thing that you just talked about, that putting your content as often as possible. This is
Hmm,
not what we do. We never do that, because see, like,
hmm,
to create a 5 minute of set, I had to perform hundred times.
hmm,
And
hmm,
the moment a video is out, I
hmm,
won't be able to perform it again, because all people have already heard that thing.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
And the biggest way, the main source of income of a stand-up comedian is selling tickets.
True. Hmm,
People are buying, and they if somebody is buying a ticket, they don't want to hear what they already heard in the YouTube video.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
So
hmm,
now see, the way is like, I haven't put any video yet. So
hmm,
what I'm doing, like, I'll be building like 1.5 or 2 hours of material.
hmm,
Okay, like I know that this is 1 hour and 45 minutes, which will work, and I can make people laugh from start to end.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
Let's say in every 30-40 seconds I can make people laugh, and that is that I can do for 1 hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours.
hmm,
And from that material, I'll
hmm,
pick out some bits, let's say 2-3 bits, and I'll make a video. And the way we normally do, we'll make a video for that. Okay,
hmm,
for a couple of videos. Because see, like, I have an act for 2 hours,
hmm,
but you don't know that. Why
hmm,
would you pay me money if you don't know if I'm actually funny or not, if my act is good or not? For that, I'll put out videos, a couple of videos, so that you know what I talk about, what type of comedian am I.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
And after watching that video, you would
hmm.
see, like, there is more to this person. He is fun. I want to know more about what he speaks or what he does. Then you buy the ticket and come to my show. And
Hmm.
till the time people are coming to my shows, I won't put another video,
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
because I just don't want to spoil that material, because it's a hard earn, it's a really hard earned thing for you. The your jokes are your gold. You just don't
Mhm.
give it away. And then once people stop coming or something happens or I have something very new to share, then I'll put up another video.
Okay, but I have a question here that if you are putting the content out only till the time, only when you see us,
Hmm.
yeah, only when you see a slack in the
You
coming
got it by now. Yeah.
yeah. So there is no consistency in the people you're attracting, and if you want to have, because as a comedian you also need to build your brand, and
Hmm.
right now, even without pandemic as well, online is a major chunk of that, of building your
Hmm.
brand.
Yeah.
So if the strategy is to put out content out when people stop coming, or there is a reduction in that, but then how do you plan to build the brand?
Very good
Because
point.
yeah.
Yeah. And pausing gives me a bit of time to think about the question as well. I really love the internet now. Because the questions are really good. So see, now I put out the video on YouTube and you saw the video and you said like this guy is something.
Mhm,
Now I asked you to find me on Instagram. Now we
mhm,
are connected on Instagram.
mhm,
Okay. Uh, you already know this guy is funny.
mhm,
You have the content for that. Now I just need to tell, see the way what happens when you want to sell a product. Let's say you register it on Amazon and all. Now people know there's a product and this is how it looks.
mhm.
What is the second thing that people look for before buying it?
Reviews.
Now when I perform, there will be people who will be sharing my story, there will be people who would be telling how good the experience was. They will be
Mhm,
messaging me and everything that I'll be putting out in my story, in other platforms. I'll be sharing,
mhm,
what goes inside it, I'll tell you as a story.
mhm,
Okay, that's amazing. Where people are saying amazing, yeah, that was killer, and this will draw you. There is a material
mhm,
that you watched and you found that is funny, and then
mhm,
you don't know if that act is funny or not. Then
mhm,
you hear people say, oh my god, that was hilarious, we had the best time of our life, this
mhm,
guy kills it, there is no one else like him, and things like that. And I share my life and everything with you. And then see, Instagram is a place where I I personally love Instagram because that's the place when I can connect to the fans. You would know what goes in my life, and vice
mhm.
versa. If you share something in my life, Instagram will follow everybody back. But yeah.
On that note, could you just share your Instagram ID in the chat box, so that our
Sure.
mentees could also
Mm,
get in contact with you and get a peek in your life as well?
sure. So see, one thing you guys must have noticed by now that I always stay excited. That's what I am, right? And since it's Zoom and our name already appears there, so my name is Himanshu Lohani.
Mhm.
So my Insta ID is excited Lohani.
Oh, you
Easy to remember, I guess.
yeah, you remind. Okay, so I'll be a little personal here and say
Hmm.
you remind me of that sibling or that relative who just like make punches and we are all like okay. On following our conversation, one of the anonymous, one of the attendees has asked that did you promote your comedy in the initial stages of being a comedian?
No, I don't even now. It just
Mhm.
first build the act, right? I should have something substantial to offer for 1.5 hours or so. I'm at, I guess, like 40-45 minutes of my content. I'm
So
yet to
you are
build something
right
more.
now in accumulation stage.
Accumulation. And firstly, like, before you put the painting out, it's like putting your painting out for a painter, that you don't reveal your painting when you are making it. I think
Mm-hmm.
Mona Lisa, the painting was made in 12 years, around 12 years, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Then, if I am the talented in this conversation, yeah. So, say Leonardo da Vinci, he made the painting in 12 years, exactly 12 years.
Okay.
If you know that the person doesn't know, then you can be more confident, right?
Yeah, very true, very true.
Yes. So that he revealed that painting later.
Mhm.
So that's how. See, like initially 2 3 years, if you think about money, then you are going wrong. If you're okay, if you're thinking about money in the initial years, you are going wrong. If you're thinking about being famous, you are going wrong. The first
Mhm.
thing is learn what comedy is, how comedy is. If something happens, something off happens on a stage, how to make the most out of it,
Mhm.
and have 1.5 hour of content so that whenever you get a big show, you have something to offer. Take your time.
Mhm.
Don't be in hurry.
Mhm.
And see, I was in hurry throughout my life. And where am I? I didn't reach anywhere else, right? Doing 10 jobs, but didn't reach the pinnacle of any of them. So take time, learn it. It's an art. Be an
Mhm.
artist and then show your art, right?
I think
For the
that's
timing, just let them know you do it. For now, just let them know you do it. How you do it? That's a question that will be answered in future.
that we will figure out
That
on
will
the
that will
job.
figure out. Yes.
Okay, Himanshu, this I think that we have to wrap this up. We are
Oh
already
man.
15 minutes extended. It was
Hmm.
an amazing, time spent with you. This has been one of the really honest conversations that we have had over My Captain. Um,
Oh.
just would like to give you an opportunity to sum up or what will be your advice, the final advice for the aspiring comedians.
See, like this is an advice I'll like to give to everybody, be it comedian or non-comedian.
Mhm.
Just fail at times, right? Start failing, yeah. If you don't fail at this stage of your life, in whichever stage you are, then
Mhm.
what are the stories you gonna tell in the future? If I wouldn't have failed till now, what would I have told in the session that we had today? So just
Mhm.
start failing. The more you fail, the more you learn. So this is what I'll say. Do whatever you are doing fine. You don't have to do stand-up comedy, or you don't have to pick a particular profession. It's just that someone else is doing it. But whatever you do, please fail. Have stories to talk about it.
Oh,
So that's the only thing that I'll say. And yeah, start loving pain. It's good.
tragedy, my
It will give you,
comedy.
yeah, tragedy becomes comedy at times. One way or the other, and everybody wants to be funny, right? It's not that it's only the comedian who wants to be funny. Everybody wants to be funny in life. So that's
I'm,
the
I'm
thing.
I'm trying very hard at it.
No, you are doing quite well in it, I would say.
Oh, thank you
But
so
that this is the
much.
most fun conversation that I ever had, and I got to know a lot of answer within myself as well. So that's the best way to put the question, where the person who is answering is learning as well along the way. So you are an amazing host.
Thank you so
Really
much.
loved
I'm
it.
also we are actually all the attendees, and I both of all of us are very happy to be yeah
All
to
of
be
us,
a
yeah.
part.
You
Yeah,
have
all
to
of
see,
us
you understand this part as well, like where to stop. Okay.
to be a part of your journey. It
Hmm.
was amazing to have you today with us. All the
Same here.
mentees, do follow him on LinkedIn, do follow him on Instagram. It's Excited Lohani. I don't think that you will have any problem looking for him. His profile will like splur excitement, excitement. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you,
us.
Ella. Okay, bye. Have a nice day. Have a nice night ahead. Okay, I'll see you again. Bye bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody. Bye bye. Oh, somebody is saying something. It
Oh,
was
Marlene, really
it was
fun.
really fun. I'm glad you had a nice time. Okay, I need to repeat again. Yeah, I'm glad you had a nice time. This was something I was looking forward to. Really, right? Loved it.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone, for joining us. Okay. Have a nice day.
Okay.
Have a
Bye
nice
bye.
night.
Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.